Okay, so welcome back for part two of beginner tips. Um, the picture is just for show, one of my recent Dutch pours. So this will be video number two. If you didn't catch the first video, please go search for that. I'll try to link it in the description box. This will be a series. I know I have three, maybe more, so stay tuned. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
My first tip for you, outside of doing things cheap, is protect your drains. I do use my kitchen drain a lot because my bathroom sink is much smaller, so I do tend to use my kitchen sink to do all of my washing. You don't want to clog up your drain with paint. Now, washing your hands or washing off a little bit of paint on a tool, not a big deal. But when you get into, containers and stuff that have, paint in them and such, stuff like that, I literally, and I don't know if you can see this, but I keep this little plastic container. It actually used to be a 4-gallon water bottle. So I buy these from Sam's Club full, and I have a water dispenser. So I recycle them typically, but a lot of times I'll cut the curved portion off the top of it and use it for like storage for various paint pouring things. So I have several of them in my paint pouring closet, and I keep one in my art studio with this. This is going to be your best friend. For some reason, the Power Wash cleans anything with acrylic paints on it better than anything else that I've tried. I will spritz some of that in the container. I keep a little bit of water in the bottom when I'm in my art studio and I'm mixing up paints, getting ready to, when I'm doing a pour and I have the little spoons or whatnot, I'll wipe them off and throw them immediately into that bucket. About once a week or so, I'll bring it out, put some Power Wash in it, and let them soak for a little while. So that's what these have been doing. They've been soaking, and the paint comes right off. And then once you've got all your stuff cleaned in this container, then I strain the water out of it. And all of those paint, goopy, chunky things that were in your containers and such, you want to throw those away. I was saving them, but in the investigation I did on what to do with all of my plastic pieces and empty paint cans and such, I thought that you had to take them to a specific place, but in our area it says as long as it's dry you can put it in the regular trash for acrylic paints. So that's what I do. I make sure it's dry and I just throw it in the garbage. So a couple things you're going to want to get, and I would suggest going to the dollar store. A bottle brush, $1 at the dollar store. Another thing is anytime you buy, like I use this quite a bit, anytime you buy this and you empty the bottles, save it. You can put something in there. I have one of these full of various sizes of containers that I use. Another thing you might want to do is determine, I think I have some in here. So maybe not. The little condiment containers, I thought I had one in here. I apparently do not. So a lot of people use those little condiment containers for mixing their paints when they do like blooms or even Dutch pours. I've seen people use them. Find what you like. I don't like those for the simple fact that they're not very quick. And you have the same situation with these big containers is, as long as you have that open, that paint around the edges is drying, and then it gets all gooey and forms clumps, and I just feel like I'm constantly wasting a lot of paint with the spoons to dish it out every time I use that color. And then around the edges, you have to clean that off. So I just, and probably the worst part outside of those two things is how hard they are to wash, especially the lids. The paint seems to never, it gets in every tiny little groove, and there's just tons and tons of little grooves in there. So I go to Dollar General, and they have packages of these in the cake decorating section. And I think they're 2 for $1.50. They're really squeezable. I use this for all of my, just about all of my paints, whether I mix them for Dutch pour or whether I mix them for blooms or what have you. I use these. You see me, it's super easy to clean. Bottle brush inside. This has got the narrow end on the back. I initially started out, Dollar General had a pack that they were selling for $1, and these work okay. I just prefer the super soft ones. They had a pack with these 2 bottles in it for $1. Also a really good buy. I was using the smaller ones for like a cell activator, or something that I didn't use as often, or maybe colors that I don't use a lot of, like in my Dutch pours or my blooms. I use these mostly for blooms, but this was literally just covered with paint, and that Dawn just just comes right off. So I was putting labels on them, which took a lot of time, and I recently just started using a Sharpie and just marking on the outside of it what it is, because typically when I wash this and you put it in that Dawn, most of that will come right off anyway. So every time I wash them, those labels come off anyway, just like that. But yeah, these get really clean really fast, much faster than the little condiment containers, trust me. Another thing you might want to get at the Dollar Tree, if you're planning on doing swipes, is they have some very large plastic, they look like a placemat. I'm not really sure what the official name that they have on the package. It's been a little while since I bought them. I use them everywhere, but this one's kind of dirty. But they look like this, and there's 2 of them in a package, and I use those. They are the best thing for a swipe. I mean, they are, hands down, I have spatulas, I have all kinds of stuff, and those are my go-to. I absolutely love how easy they are to use on a swipe. You don't get too much pressure on them, and it's kind of like using a paper towel, but you can use it over and over because they're super lightweight, and you just glide them right across. Another thing you might want to pick up at the Dollar Tree are some spatulas. So I do occasionally use this for a swipe. It's nice and smooth, but for the most part, I use this to pick up all of my tiles when I'm doing tiles. They're perfect. They're $1. They clean up so well. They're super smooth, so the paint just glides right off of it. So yeah, that's a few real easy tricks. Pretty much scan the Dollar Tree for the kitchen section. There's a lot of stuff in the kitchen section that you're gonna probably need at some point. Like they might have, things like this. I use the smaller ones to like scoop paint out of the big gallon jars. I know a lot of people use the wood stir sticks. A lot of times I'll go to, here's one. Here's what I was looking for earlier. These little condiment containers. Sorry, it's all soapy. But you can get these in all different sizes, and I honestly started with these, and I do use them occasionally, especially for my pigments. That's pretty much the only thing I use these for, and that is because it's real easy to put your paints in here and shake them, and that's how I mix mine is, put everything in there and shake it. That's mixes it up really good. But for pigments, you really need to stir them for quite a while to get those pigments, blended in. So you really need to have those in a you know, container such as this, or something similar. But yeah, these are not the easiest thing. This one was pretty clean, but they're not the easiest thing. The paint gets around these edges, and then I don't know if I have a lid in here, but the lids are all like grooved and everything, and it just gets everywhere, and I have such a hard time cleaning them. And yeah, the intent is to use them over and over, because it's kind of wasteful to buy them and just throw them away. So yeah, so that's another tip. And this, like I mentioned before, a lot of people use the wooden stir sticks, the little popsicle sticks. I just find them so flimsy. I've broken them when I was stirring paint. I literally have a couple of different sizes of these, and I think I got them at either Hobby Lobby or Joann's in the baking section. I'm trying to, Wilton. Wilton is the brand name. So yeah, it's in the cake decorating section. Wait till they go on sale. I don't ever pay full price for anything. I wait till it's on sale. I use a coupon like at Joann's. Back when I started, Hobby Lobby still had the coupons. But yeah, the paint cleans off really easy off of these. They're so easy, nice and sturdy. You're not gonna have to worry about your stick breaking. I use these for the shorter ones. I have a really long one. It's over on my table, or I grab it to use for the big 5-gallon paint cans. When you open those up, you just scrape them off when you're done on the side of the can. Super easy to use. So that's another thing.
All right, guys, thanks for joining me for this part of beginner's tips for paint pouring. Be watching for my next video on tips for beginners. Thanks, guys.